You're listening to Off-Road Garage Podcast, and here are Jason and Jim.
And we're live. What's up, brother?
What's going on, buddy?
Special guest.
Yeah.
Whole different. You're gonna be
know.
feeling outcast tonight because
I
last
know.
time with that diesel guy, I had no idea what you're talking
I
about.
know, it's my turn.
So I had to bring on my friend Brad.
Yeah.
You there,
Okay.
Brad?
I'm here. How you guys doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Pretty great myself.
So we wanted to talk about. We thought about Holly Oaks, this new ORV park that we've got that we're blessed to have in the state.
I've been seeing some drama on the pages.
Right. Brad, if you don't know, runs BeRad.
Yeah.
It's a YouTube and Instagram page. He does a lot. He started off as like a hooligan, right, Brad?
Absolutely. That's a good way to put it.
He was doing a lot of supermoto stuff, which you know I love. I've got that KTM supermotoed out.
Yeah.
You've seen it. Brad hasn't.
Okay.
I told him I could ride him about a dozen times, never came out.
Right.
His skills were scary. Like
Yeah.
he's really good. Then he transitioned to the dirt life to stay away from law enforcement. It seemed like.
That's a good move.
Yeah. And then got really good at that, Brad. I mean, I've been seeing your transition. It's been pretty impressive. Where have you been riding at?
Yeah. Thanks a lot for having me on, first of all, and for the kind words about my riding and how it's progressed and stuff. So I guess a little bit of background on me. I live in Michigan, was born here. So I started off riding on Michigan trails up north, the ORV trails and stuff. Not too much single track. I wouldn't call most of Michigan stuff single track anyway, 'cause you can nearly fit a quad through just about anything, even if you're not supposed to. But yeah, so rode, flowy sand trails for a long time. I ended up moving to Texas down near Austin for about a year and a half, just within the past 2 years. So there I kind of got introduced to more technical riding, lots of rocks, ledges, big drops, big, steep, nasty, slippery climbs. So there's kind of where I started, really focusing on getting better at my riding and not just faster, but really working on technique. Just moved back to Michigan this spring. At a property now, 22 acres. I've got some single track and obstacles set up here. But just last weekend, I went to Holly Oaks because I've seen a lot of people posting about it. Of course, it's a new local off-road riding area, so you got to go check it out, see what it's all about. And had a kind of a mix of experience and emotion there.
Right.
But overall, it was pretty cool.
Let's touch on, because I watched some of your progression. Like I've been following your channel for like 4 years now. And I mean,
Yeah.
the one thing I really always respected is like if you were never good at a part of riding, you would post your videos of you like sucking at like wheelies, for example.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you'd be wadding up your practice bike until you were
Yep.
good enough to get back on. Because you had that white, was it a WR 400 or 450?
WR 450. Yep.
Yeah, and that was like your real bike, and then you had like a practice bike that you would wad up and practice until you were good enough to go do it on the real bike, which was, to me, showed the commitment you had to the craft, which I kind of thought was awesome.
So actually, that when I had that bike, that was really my only bike at the time for a while. I had a dirt bike, another YZ250X at the time as well, but all of the supermoto stuff was done on that bike, or the identical one I had before it that was blue. But luckily, I managed to learn quite a bit without wadding up too much. And if I did, you replace handlebars, maybe a new piece of plastic, and the bike looks pretty much brand new.
Right.
So really just one bike there. But yeah, I find it very important to show the learning process with everything. I think a lot of people make things out to be that there's some god-like figure and they just they know everything right away without having to work for it. And I know that with anyone, that's just simply not the case.
Right. And one of my favorites that I saw is once you moved to Austin, you were trying to tackle that ledge. It was like a 3-foot vertical ledge in like an old parking lot, and you hit that thing probably about 1,200 times until you finally nailed it. But it just showed, because you would show it every couple of days. You'd go to it until you conquered it.
Yeah. So that was, it was about a 5.5 foot vertical wall with a couple sketchy cinder blocks at the base to kind of ramp up a little bit, but it was still at least 3 foot of straight vertical wall. And I looked at it. It was on this like it was in this like big group ride thing I did, and I'm just like, I'm gonna ride up that, and I kind of said it sarcastically, like not much confidence, but then people are like, oh, dude, I'd love to see that, and I'm like, well, crap,
Shot myself in
I
the
guess-
foot.
Oh,
yeah, I guess I'm going for it now, and I'm like, well, it's I know it's possible. I've seen people do similar stuff, but yeah, so it was terrifying. The first couple attempts at it, I didn't even know how to approach it at that point. But yeah, I think it was 30 or so attempts. It was all on the same day, actually.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, it was within probably 2 hours. So I took little breaks to let my body heal for a minute here and there. But yeah, that was one of the most intense practice sessions trying to learn something I've ever done to this day, actually.
I still don't even understand the mechanics of that. It's super impressive to watch, but I got nothing.
It was gnarly, dude.
I got nothing on how you make that thing fly upwards.
You see him like second gear, like he's thinking about it. He's got his body position super aggressive. He bounces the suspension to get the compression to rebound.
Yeah.
And then he slams it into a wall. And eventually he makes it where the tire hits and he climbs it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's weird, man. You know, like when I told people I'm going to ride up that wall, you know, whether it was a little sarcastic or not, I knew it was possible, and everyone else was like, dude, no, you're not. Like we'd love to see you try, but no, you're not. Like, you're not going to get it.
right.
And then, you know, 15 tries deep where I have a few really close attempts where like, oh man, this guy's serious. Like he's not stopping until he gets it.
Right.
And yeah, it was something. I've done vertical walls before, but nothing that quite that big, I guess. And yeah, it definitely taught me a lot about body position, you know, clutch control, throttle control, brake control, and it all happens within under a second. So it's a lot to nail perfectly in order to ride up it.
Yeah, I was impressed. It was pretty rad. I
Yeah.
mean, it was cool to watch.
Yeah, thank you.
And then you progressed from that to you went from the supermoto kind of back to your roots in the dirt life, right? And then you started getting into almost hard enduro type terrain when you were in Austin or in Texas. Anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's there's single track and other sand type trails in Texas as well. Like there is up north in Michigan here, but something about just like the wall, you look at something and you think, I know that's possible, but I've never done it before. And then figuring out how to get you and the bike safely up and over something just really excites me more than, hey, how fast can I go through this flowy trail?
Right.
To me, it's a lot harder to notice your progression with something like that. All you really have is like a lap time if you're timing yourself. But with the obstacles and doing big gnarly drop-offs or step-ups or just hill climbs, it's like you either get it or you don't. And a lot of the time with the really crazy stuff, you don't get it for a very long time, and then one day it clicks.
Right.
And then you move up to something bigger from there. So it's always progressing. It's getting bigger. It's getting gnarlier. It's getting it's just.
But
cooler.
each of your progressions that you've made are based off the progression you started with. Like when you got really good at wheelies, you learned clutch control, balance, brake control, natural balance of the bike, which makes you better on off camber, single track, trying to climb rocks because now you know what the bike does.
Exactly, and it was kind of interesting because when I was
So lost.
just it's so lost. You said,
Yeah, I'm not a two-wheel guy. I fall over a lot.
well, hey, that shows you're at a good baseline to learn a lot.
There you go.
Yeah, I learned I fall a lot. I learned that I'm better off on four wheels.
You can learn a lot of names of nurses at the local hospital.
There you go.
Right, exactly. No, I'm good with all that.
Yeah, so when I started with all the supermoto stuff and was doing wheelies, I'm like, oh, these are cool, but they're not. Other than doing a wheelie, it's really not benefiting my riding at all. But then I got into the hard enduro stuff on the dirt bike, and I was like, oh wow, actually being able to ride on your rear wheel very comfortably comes in handy every single time I ride now.
Right.
And it just my rear wheel balance just gets better every day I ride. So,
which kind of brings us to the reason for the phone call,
yes,
which is a great
go
segue.
ahead.
It's like you've been doing this.
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
We've seen this Hollyoaks Open. I've got friends that have been involved in the opening of the park.
I think it's been great for the state. I think it's been great for the area.
It's going to be huge for everybody.
Absolutely.
If we can all just get along.
I think that is
Yeah.
key. And understand that there's going to be limitations and there's going to be rules set, and it's for everybody. And it can't cater to the ones or twos. But I do, I understand there should be some gray area, too.
Thanks, Dad. You came in with, the real legalese on that one. So I was just thinking, I'm coming from primarily a full-size user background. So is Jason. Yeah. He's had quads, I've had dirt bikes. You're a advanced rider compared to what we are as far as riders. So the obstacles you can tackle are different, and the ways you can tackle them are different. So what happened with this very controversial BeRad wheelie situation at Hollyoaks?
Yeah, so I was up there. I rode the whole day without any. And I don't want to say that the interaction I had was a negative one. It was all professional and everyone was very kind. But it was definitely a discrepancy that I'll get to. But had the whole day, was just doing my own thing with my friends, having a great time. And then kind of toward the end of the day, I'm on the Mount Magma, I believe it's called.
Yep.
Basically a concrete feature with some steps in it and stuff, mainly for Jeep crawling, but fun on the bikes too. So I went up it, came down the backside, did a very slow wheelie, barely above walking speed. This is first gear, slipping the clutch. So very slow, very controlled. Anyone watching could tell, this person is going to T-bone a side-by-side a quarter mile away. And there was no one around me either.
Okay.
I don't do this stuff right next to people because that's just not very courteous.
Right.
So it's funny, in the video, recorded it all on GoPro, which is kind of nice. It made it really easy to explain. I'm getting ahead of myself there. There's an Oakland County Sheriff patrolling there, which I didn't really know that they patrolled the park to enforce the rules. It makes sense. It is a county-run park. But they were there. I think they were, I don't know what they were doing there, but they were in the video. I could see them. Did the wheelie. I'm like, well, I'm at an off-road park. You can do wheelies here, right?
Right.
So I do this little loop around, little kind of a circle wheelie thing, back up the Mount Magma, set the wheel down, kind of putt down to the other side of it, and they rolled down the window and kind of flagged me over, and I was like, maybe they thought that was cool and just wanted to chat. So I roll over, and the driver said, no wheelies in the park. And I kind of chuckled, and I'm like, huh?
Right.
And then he repeats himself. He's like, no wheel. You can't do wheelies in the park here. And I'm like, you're serious? He's like, yeah, it's written in the rules. Well, the first time being there, him being an enforcer of the rules there, I'm like, sorry about that. I didn't know. I thought I pretty well looked through the rules, but obviously you'll know more than me. This is part of your job to enforce these. So it was the end of the day anyway. I pretty much gathered my friends up and headed back to the office. And they had recommended maybe I go talk to the supervisor or the manager. Manager wasn't there that day. And maybe explain kind of what I was doing. That they were in agreement with me that nothing I was doing was unsafe. They were just trying to enforce the rules that they were told to enforce. And I completely respect that, agree with them. So anyway, we chat for a bit. I got back to the office. I asked for the supervisor. She comes out, and everyone involved, again, was very kind and professional. So I'm not bashing anyone not doing their job or, being rude or anything. And I explained the situation, kind of what I was doing. I was just doing a slow wheelie, and the officers told me that we can't do it. So I kind of got into how wheelies are very important enduro riding, especially with a lot of the Jeep features, the big concrete obstacles and stuff there. The safer way to go about riding over some of these or up some of these hills is to do a wheelie. It gives you more traction to the rear wheel, just overall more bike control. And kind of explained that to her, and she was in agreement with what the officer said and basically told me, you can't do wheelies, period. I was like, all right, well, that's odd. I'm not ever going to come back to this place.
Right.
So I get home, I download my GoPro footage and start to make a little edit. Made a little post on my personal Facebook, just kind of laughing at the whole concept, being like, I'm not going to go back there. My friend screenshot the rules, and rules did not match what they were saying.
Okay.
It mentioned not doing wheelies, but only in the parking area and the entrance ramp to the park. So I was not anywhere near any roads, entrances, or the parking area when I did the wheelie. So according to me, shouldn't have been any issue with me doing a wheelie there.
Okay.
So I made a little video kind of explaining and posting the rules, just so I had to do less typing on Facebook, posted it to the Friends of Hollyoaks page. The supervisor the very next day got back and basically determined, yeah, you were okay to do the wheelies. There was a misunderstanding. Everything's good.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
So,
long story.
Kind of clarified then. Okay.
Let's see, the
Yeah,
good thing. The good thing
Yeah,
I'm
go
seeing,
ahead.
though, is that you were respectful to the police officers and to the manager. The manager was
Absolutely.
respectful to your side, and everything got resolved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah,
like
and
that's
I-
like the absolute, like most ideal way things could be worked out.
Yeah. Adulting.
Right.
Oh my God, there's so much adulting that just happened there.
No, well, it's funny because I just joined the page as you recommended to me.
Yeah.
I think two nights ago or whatever, and I was reading through some comments and other posts, and I'm just like, man, there are some people on here just that don't get, just complaining outright is not gonna get anything done.
Right. And I think that's a good
you know.
point. It's like they don't want to go the course that you did, right? They want to just complain about it and an
Yeah.
after post
Yeah.
or something like that instead of, hey, this is an issue. This is my view of it, and like,
Right.
have an outcome like you did, which
Sounds perfect.
sounds ideal. And it sounds like you were
Yeah,
understanding regardless. If you were in the wrong, you're
Yeah.
in the wrong. If you're not, you just want to dispute it, and they admitted that, hey, we were wrong. So it could've-
Right. Yeah. I
it
mean,
was perfect.
like I said to the officers in the little video I post and the supervisor, I'm like, I understand rules are rules. If these are the rules, I simply won't come here. But according to your rules on the website, there should be no issue with this. So let's sort this out and be clear. So if I decide to come again, there's no gray area. I'm not going to get a ticket for doing, a wheelie where I'm perfectly okay doing so.
Or the next guy doesn't because they saw you do it on your YouTube video. They're like, oh, Brad did it. I can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, yeah. So yeah, I in the end it all worked out fine, and obviously it's a new park. They're trying to figure out what the safest way to operate is, and I totally understand that. I just didn't want the topic to go stale because I did like riding the place, and I'd like to go back, provided I'm not at risk of getting kicked out for doing a wheelie.
Right. And that's kind of where we're at. So, like, as you know, like we've talked, I've known you for a couple of years. I'm a Jeep guy. I'm a full-size guy. I really like dirt bikes as well. I do enjoy dirt biking. But I ride my dirt bike on 24-inch wide CCC trails in up north. I take my Jeep where I can't take my dirt bike. I don't try to cross the dirt bike trails with my Jeep. You've got guys in Hollyoaks that are actually already cutting trees down to make side-by-sides fit down dirt bike trails.
Right.
It's been open for
Right.
like a month.
Yeah.
And they're already cutting trails. If we disrespect the property that we've been given by the state, they're just going to shut it down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So then you don't have a place to go practice your hard enduro without driving. I mean, you're granted to have a property, but if you didn't have your property to ride on, you're driving to either Mount Morris, which is kind of a mud bog place, or you're going to up north somewhere with a lot of sand, no real technical features, or you got to go to Drummond Island.
Well, probably what Bundy Hill's probably an option. too,
Maybe,
but I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know what. I haven't been there in years. I don't know what the condition of that.
Yeah, I've ridden Bundy Hill a few times. I would say Hollyoaks is definitely better for obstacle practice and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we get done with the show, I'll show you his Instagram.
Okay.
Like, the trails we ride by the cabin up in Rose City,
Mm-hmm.
they're 24 to 50-inch wide, single track type trails, sandy.
Yeah.
He can do those in like fourth tapped, like the stuff I ride in third. He's tapped wide going through them.
Yeah.
I thought I
The
was
stuff I had
fast.
to drag my toes through.
Yeah.
Because
I thought I was
trees
fast.
are-
I watched his videos. That's how I feel.
Oh,
But then he can also ride over obstacles. He jumps like your decorative boulders, the 3-foot boulders you have.
Oh, yeah.
Those are he does like the trials type stuff on dirt bikes.
Oh.
Which Holly Oaks has all the dirt bikes.
I got a tractor. We can build him we can build him a track right here.
Don't tell him that. It'll come over.
Do it.
I'm on my way.
Loading up the van. So, but for me I'd call myself a novice dirt bike rider.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to a place like Holly Oaks and practice my obstacles. So when I go to Drummond Island or Colorado and ride real single track with real problems,
You don't fall off a cliff and die.
that I'm already comfortable. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jason and I did Moab 2 years ago, Moab, Utah. And we had guys on KTM 300s and 525s with trials rear tires passing us on some of these obstacles.
Yeah.
And my Jeep is struggling, with 4 tires on the ground with giant tires. And I was like, dude, next time we come, I'm bringing my bike.
I know you were all about that. I'm like, I don't even understand.
But I'd want to practice here instead of going out there and wasting the first 2 days wadding my bike up on mountains.
Yeah.
So having a
Right.
place like Holly Oaks would be great for me to go and learn how to ride on a tacky, unforgiving concrete surface
Right.
like
Yeah,
Slick
no, I
Rock.
agree.
Yeah.
And if I can go catch Brad and be like, hey, dude, here's my problem. Here's the
how do I do
obstacle.
this?
How do I do this? Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the park, I think that, overall the park to me isn't all that interesting, but the few, I'll call them Jeep climbs because I know that's what they were intended for.
Right.
But, I was probably the only dirt bike rider who's gone up that really gnarly, probably the hardest Jeep hill there. I can't imagine.
I was gonna
many,
say
if
you
any,
kind
have
of got to
tried
be
that before.
you got to be kind of
Yeah.
a rare breed in this area for doing that kind of stuff. I don't,
Yeah, it's
like,
definitely
I've never,
it's definitely a location thing. Pick California, and there's
Yeah.
1,000 other dudes who would do that all day, every day. But
So-
definitely kind of rare around here.
I know during the
So-
trial week, like the first week it was open, they had like a couple trials, and they had some really experienced 2-wheeler guys doing that mountain.
Oh, okay, nice.
Just to show the versatility of the grounds. Because right now
Right.
we only have, I think, 1/3 of the grounds actually open. They're going to open. It's going to be 2 times bigger.
wasn't that one
Yep.
of the original gripes?
Yeah.
It's like they're building this. It's just a Jeep park. There's
Yeah.
nothing for my dirt bike to
Yeah.
ride on.
So they're going to make it larger. There's going to be more single track.
Yeah.
And more stuff. They're going to get, I think, the Michigan Cycle Club, the CCCY,
Getting involved and doing some
is
trails.
going to get involved in some of it. They're trying to get people who are experts, subject matter experts in their field, to come in and do this kind of stuff. This is a good place that you might be able to get involved.
Yeah, I was considering contacting them about it because I rode the little 30-second long single track section they have now, and I'm like, yeah, this can be a lot better.
So I'll put you in
So-
contact with a guy who I know is
Yeah.
helping really big with it. His name is Jim Kitson.
Okay.
He's supposed to be on the
Yep.
show here in a couple weeks. He might be the one to talk to about, hey, man, I want to really get in on the single track side of it, or even explain to him the need for a trials type section or a hard enduro section.
Definitely.
Especially if we get the other 2/3 we're supposed to get. There should be room. Everybody gets to play.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
gonna be awesome.
And the more united front we show as lovers of dirt, side by side, single track, or dirt bikes, quads, Jeeps, we can all come together, maybe get more of these parks open.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. I think that's awesome.
I just love the look on your face when you glaze
so
over.
lost. I'm still trying to contemplate jumping 5 feet. I can't even. I don't got nothing.
So my one favorite video, and if he has a minute,
Yeah.
he was hucking it off like a 7-foot waterfall onto rocks in Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so the biggest drop I did was 12 feet to flat. It was literally like a cliff, straight vertical cliff, 12 feet tall. Just hucked it to flat. My exhaust pipe dug a hole in the ground. The bike squatted and flexed so much.
All right, that's impressive. That's
Yeah.
impressive.
His,
All right, all right.
When he went down to Texas, I was like sad
Yeah.
because he was gone, but I was happy to watch his Instagram because it was so much gnarly riding that he was doing.
Okay.
It got way more fun when I moved to Texas. That's for sure.
Yeah,
It seems like a lot more fun out there.
yeah, everything's
Yeah.
more fun out there.
I know. I
So,
know. Check
I mean-
the wrong box somewhere.
Do you have anything else you want to ask the single track specialist that we have on the show? Do you have any questions about it?
I'm how
You're
do
stymied?
yeah. How do you? So how do you keep from falling over? No, because I thought like speed, like from a young kid riding a bicycle, I feel like the faster I went, the straighter I was. But you seem to be the opposite of that. You're like go slow and crawl. I've always been very like intrigued and like in awe at your skill. You're like the guy juggling the chainsaws on the unicycle. I'm like, I would never try it, but it looks amazing. I applaud you, sir.
I can ride a unicycle.
Oh my
God. Add that to the list of attributes.
Oh, of course.
It's the funny thing is you literally like, I don't practice it as often as I should, but literally turn the bike off, put it in a mowed patch of grass and try and balance. And I've the longest I've probably done, I think, was like 8 minutes straight, engine off, just standing on the pegs, balancing on flat ground.
That's impressive.
So
I couldn't do 8 seconds. Like I don't even.
Well, yeah, you might not now, but you even if you don't ride dirt bikes, I almost guarantee you anyone that practiced for 30 minutes a day for a week could balance for over a minute easily by the end of the week.
I guess I'm going to have to get a dirt bike now or something.
I mean, I got 3.
I think you should get a dirt bike. Yeah.
I've slowly been getting rid of the 4-wheelers and things like that.
Yeah.
Gone to Jeeps.
They take up less room.
That's true.
That's true.
You can put 2 bikes on the trailer to get to Moab in front of the Jeep, no problem.
I would fall off a cliff.
Hell
I'd be so hurt.
But I would tell your story, bro.
Oh, the memorial will be really nice.
Yeah. Well, Brett, I mean, I really appreciate you coming on, especially like the last minute. But we were just talking about, the drama on that website and how people are basically bashing
I'm really
everything.
glad to get the story out there that it kind of had a really like a positive, ending and everything's kind of good there. And
didn't we do an episode on this? Like one of our 10th episodes, like just don't be a douchebag.
Yeah, don't be a d-bag.
Like
that was one of our.
He came out like an adult and he said, "Hey, here's my discrepancy with the problem," and the problem was resolved.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody got name called, and there it is.
And resolved. Not. I'm gonna cry about it on the Facebook page, and hopefully someone listens to me, and enough people are like, "Yeah, he's right. Yeah." And then nothing happens, and it just becomes a shit show.
Yeah, I think the exhaust noise level, the decibel limit is the funniest one with people arguing about that.
I saw that. I try not to read too much into it because I end up just getting mad. I'm also trying to, I don't know. Like, to me, that's kind of hit and miss. I could go either way on that. Sometimes I think it's, personally, it can be kind of obnoxious.
Yeah.
Again, it's like they got to set a standard rule.
Or you're going to have drag cars or straight pipes going out there and blowing out windows.
You can't have open-headered, big block Chevys, all day. That's just, no one wants. It's cool for like 12 seconds, dude. And then I don't want to hear it,
Yeah, well, and I think the big thing is there are communities surrounding the park. If you have, your straight piped LS motor in your Jeep Cherokee, that's probably going to cause so much noise at times where people are hearing it, complaining, and then the park gets shut down. I get that. It's just creating more hassle, I think, for trying to keep the park open.
And as much as I love bikes, I couldn't imagine hearing buzzing hornets for 12 hours on a Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the same thing. It only needs to be so loud. I mean, it's like, it's just coming to that middle ground, right? Like, all right, you can be kind of loud, but not obnoxious loud. Yeah. It's like your rule, right? Like, all right, you can wheelie in that area, just don't wheelie over here, right? And that's not for you, Brad, because you could probably wheelie through the parking lot and apparently jump across people's hoods and not scratch them at all. But it's for the guy who doesn't practice 30 minutes a day at balancing and who just,
it's for me.
Throttles it down and, drives his dirt bike through someone's car door.
Dump the clutch at 5,500 and hold on. That's what.
Right. That's how you do it. I thought. Right. I don't know. I saw a video. Yeah. I saw a video of Brad doing it. How hard can it be?
That's all you need to do is see someone else do it. To do it and understand it. Yeah.
Yeah. We've also seen all those videos of how wrong that goes, and the damage that can be done. So.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I understand. I'm probably the exception to
Right. The rule wasn't written
doing
for
a
you.
controlled wheelie like that around here.
Yeah.
So, I do factor that into my reasoning and stuff, but, it is an off-road park. Like, you got to have some leniency on what people are doing.
Right. I mean, it'd be like, because I remember the photo you showed shortly thereafter was a Jeep on Mount Magma with one of the tires just precariously in the air and a guy standing on the bumper.
And another one hanging out of the window filming, like in a position where if that thing rolled, he may not make it.
And you're like, dude, I've got on boots, pants, pads, helmet, gloves, goggles, and if I fall down, it's on me.
Yeah.
The absolute worst thing that could happen to me doing one of those slow wheelies is I bruise my tailbone.
Right, which sucks. I mean,
and your ego.
or I get a cut from my foot peg if the bike lands on me. But I've done that plenty of times and gotten right back on and kept riding, no problem.
Right, but again, the rule's not for you. It's for the guy in the ripped up blue jeans and the tank top and the half helmet.
But that was a valid point that he had made, though, because he had just done it, and there's a guy on the front of a JK, and is climbing Mount Magma. The front tire is like 3.5 feet off the ground, and the dude's on the bumper. I'm like, if this thing goes over, this is over.
Yeah, I celebrate it.
I celebrate it.
Absolutely, more power to you. We all got to learn somehow.
It's just kind of like you
Brad's
said.
fallen a few times. That guy just hasn't fallen yet.
Just not having.
It's just more violent when it's in a JK.
The rules have to fit, kind of everything. And then, like you said, you were okay with the fact of, hey, no wheelies allowed. Cool. I'm going to go, I guess, back to Bundy Hill because I can wheelie there.
Yeah.
And as an adult, you realize that's a decision you have to make.
Yeah. It's just, exactly.
Cool. Well, I mean, you got anything else?
I'm good. I think this is an informative, positive episode.
Brad, you got anything?
If you guys want to extend it a few more minutes,
Absolutely.
I wouldn't mind just kind of asking your guys' thoughts coming from the, four-wheeled vehicle perspective of the park and what you might like to see them make in the future. And maybe there's some middle ground that we would all like to see two-wheeled and four-wheeled.
So I guess
there.
I'll field the first part of that since it's kind of like crossover better for me than Jason.
Yeah.
I think I've not been to the park yet, so I've only watched via video. We were supposed to go next weekend, and stuff fell through. What I've seen so far, like Mount Magma, I'm not sure if you know this or not, but the whole point of that mountain is to replicate obstacles you find in Moab.
Exactly.
So there's obstacles there that you can only find in Moab, and now you can find in Michigan. They're exact replicas of that. So you can test your Jeep before you go on the 2,500-mile trip to Moab.
Yeah.
Right.
It's worth it.
There's some things that I think could be kind of cross-used if we did some sort of like a rock garden, a la like the Red Bull Hard Enduro when they have them, or like the Johnny Walker Sprint stuff when it's the just the pile of rocks. Because I can have a ride on that in either one of my toys. I can bring the KTM out and work on balance and control in the rocks because they move and they're harder to deal with than single track. Or I could take one of my Jeeps out and do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And realistically, that's a pretty low maintenance obstacle for them to add. You get a DC-9 Cat, you dump a bunch of rocks back there, and we play on.
Yeah, you basically just let them fall where they may.
Yeah. I'd love to see, for my love of the dirt bike world, is some sort of a mini hard enduro course, or I don't know what they call it, the sprint hard enduro.
Enduro cross.
Yeah, something to that effect. Where it's like some obstacles, some tires, some logs, some mud. And I can do it like a mile loop or half-mile loop. And that way I can go someplace and practice my obstacle abilities in a controlled and confined environment where I have help should I get hurt.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Versus trying to huck it in, Mount Morenci County somewhere and nobody can find me.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what I'd be after too, for two-wheel use.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking for two-wheel use because, I mean, I can take my Jeep pretty much anywhere as far as like once I cross the Milwaukee, I can find any two-track and go on it. It's harder. It's harder for me to want to take my bike that far if I know I might get hurt, especially when I'm by myself.
Exactly.
As far as the four-wheel world is concerned, my Jeep world, I'm not really a mud guy. It just seems like it's fun when you're like 20 and it starts breaking stuff and it gets old and stinky. I know some guys really love it. It's not really my thing. But, any kind of cool obstacles that would either replicate the stuff that you see like in...
I don't mind if it's partially part of the obstacle.
Right.
Where it kind of gets your tire just a little wet before you have to climb that little bump. But, I don't like to,
headlight deep.
Yes, be pushing sludge.
But I'd be cool if they would start finding other really rad like off-road areas like Harlan, Kentucky, and mimicking an obstacle from there, or mimicking an obstacle from the Rubicon Trail.
But I think you're pretty spot on there with just like, just kind of the rocks, various sizes.
Yep.
Because then you could take various vehicles of various difficulties down that trail.
Right.
Now, like I said, not being there, I guess I don't really have myself anything like that I could think of off topic to add. I was curious though, like how is the flow of traffic on those trails out there? Is it kind of like a free for all, or is it somewhat directional?
Yeah, it was for me. I guess I see it as being incredibly dangerous.
Okay.
Because I know
More
that was
dangerous.
one of the things was like someone was saying about the flags, that there should be flags, and like I said, without being there, I was curious. I'm kind of hit or miss on that myself.
I know not everyone's going to agree with this because you're like, oh, well, why do you get the special advantage? But I think the Jeeps, the side-by-sides, could be required to use flags. But honestly, if they required a flag on a dirt bike, I wouldn't go. The amount of times I've went to Bundy Hill where they require a flag, and first of all, it only lasts 5 minutes.
Right.
But the amount of times I've caught my sack slipping off the end of the bike on a flag, I have no interest in riding it.
From a four-wheeler standpoint, I can get behind that. Obviously, I understand it doesn't take much to snap it off. I think the mounting locations on a dirt bike is almost futile anyway.
Pretty much just the back.
And
It's the wheel
your
nut.
ability to stand up and elevate yourself to kind of look over that obstacle is a lot easier than in a side. Obviously, you can't. I can't stand up in a side by side or a Jeep to look over the obstacle.
Yeah.
I think those. I could side with that.
But to me, what Brad was saying, though, somebody's going to complain because bikes
absolutely.
won't need them, and the side-by-side guys or the Jeep guys will be mad.
It's that crying thing, but life is not fair, people.
Right.
Get over it.
But honestly, even flags or no flags, I can't say I'd feel more or less safe. I think the way it's set up, it all boils down to personal responsibility, right? Like, if you're going to go up a hill, if you're going to go play on Mount Magna, do a lap around it and see what vehicles are trying to ride on it while you're there. And it's something like that. It's not a feature you're flying up it in third gear in any vehicle. You're crawling. You're going a walking pace or slower. So a collision, not going to be, might dent someone's bumper. You might tip the bike over and break a clutch lever. I don't see it as too much of an injury risk. But then the hills where you are going fast, I didn't really come into anything where as long as you were paying attention, you would see a Jeep or four-wheeler, at the top.
Yeah.
You got to be mindful. You got to stick to the right side of the trail, which I know not everyone understands and does. But for me, I just try not to ever put myself in a position where I'm taking a risk where I don't know what's on the other side.
That's smart.
I even had friends spot me on a few things. I was like, hey, go stand up there. I want to try something. Just make sure, just put your hand in the air if anyone's coming.
Right. I'll slow down. Right. And I'm sort of in agreement, just for the record, about the whole flags. Like, I used to ride Silver Lake on my bike pretty regularly.
Yeah.
And I'd go through 4 or 5 flags in a weekend.
Yeah, I've never thought it was. Yeah. I mean, even.
But like he said, though, there's personal accountability. Like me as a dirt biker, I need to know not to pass people on the right side of the road.
Well, it's in your best interest because let's be real, the square body Chevy's going to win. Right? You come over that hill not knowing really what's on the other side at full bore.
Right.
That truck's going to win.
But you've also got the other side of it, though. If I'm passing on the right and they freak out and they swerve left and run into a side-by-side, that's still my fault.
Absolutely.
If I'm on a bike. So I know bikes, and that's kind of the give and take, though, because you get like almost a road rage guy. Mm-hmm. When I'm on my YZ250, like at Silver Lake, trying to get onto the dunes, and they block my path, so I can't pass them.
Right.
And I'm over here struggling to keep it vertical because I'm in, sand.
Yeah,
right.
that deep sand,
right.
Yeah,
so like just move over. I'll be out of your way in like 3 seconds, literally.
Right. But to be on the flip side, I've been in that truck in that line where the younger rider is in front of me ripping sand up on my truck because he's trying to go and he has zero clutch and throttle control, and he's peppering my truck with sand. So
right. That's what I'm saying. Though, like, if
you
they
get
could just
you get that back and forth.
if they could just go to the left and go around everybody, like
Right.
almost like lane splitting,
Right.
let them get out of the way.
Yeah.
Let the sand fleas get out of the way so the trucks can roll through.
Right.
I mean, because I would prefer that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of the same thing I'm seeing at like Mount Magma or in Holly
Well,
Oaks.
it really comes down to just mutual respect to one another.
Crazy.
Right? Like
Exactly.
don't fling rocks on my truck, and
Yeah.
I will let you nicely go
Go
around
past
me.
me, yeah.
Right.
And
But in a
Yeah.
perfect world, that would be fine.
right.
But
But nobody wants to let somebody be first to the hill. I mean,
no.
so yeah.
Yeah, and I've ridden a bunch of off-road parks. Like in Texas, there's 15 different places you can go. There's Hidden Falls, which, Jim, I'm sure you've seen, which
Yep.
is like way more Jeeps and side-by-sides go there than dirt bikes, and it's awesome, and it's great. I've never really had an issue. I had one issue where this guy freaked out for no reason. He was just trying to start a fight. He was drunk.
Okay.
It's funny. But anyway, like everyone's pretty respectful to each other there. You're in a creek together. They have these creek trails you can ride, and you come in, and we're the dirt bikes. We're maneuverable. We're smaller. We move off to the side. We let them pass, and we keep going. And it's give a quick wave, and like everyone seems very respectful. It definitely seemed more chaotic at Holly Oaks. I think because there's not. It like you were asking, it is more of a free-for-all. Like, you
Okay.
can pretty much ride anywhere there as long as you're not tearing up the side of a hill that's not marked or going through trees that aren't marked. But most of it is just open sand and, dirt road type stuff. And there's people going 10 different ways at any given moment. So I think that was a little chaotic, and I don't know what to do to solve that. I'm not too worried for myself, 'cause like I said, I look out for it. I try and avoid it. I ride very slow, so I can react quick enough. But I picture a little kid going there who's just trying to stay up on his bike and not going to be able to shoulder check right and left every other second.
Right.
Right.
Like, that's the person that's in danger there of the side by side. Even going 20 miles an hour in a dust cloud.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, you're on an 80 and he's doing 20 in a dust cloud. You're little. You're gonna get run over.
yeah. So I don't know what the solution is for that. I think maybe, I really
Well,
don't
I'm
know. I
hoping-
think maybe go ahead.
I'm hoping some of this is growing pains because it's so exciting to have something this close to home that it's
Yeah.
probably at capacity all the time.
Yeah.
I'm hoping as
Oh,
it becomes
absolutely.
kind of like almost like a passe thing, maybe people, and then it might start to be a little bit safer. And I'm hoping there's going to be, I don't want to say restrictions because I get where you're coming from, where I want to be able to go up, down, left, and right on Mount Magma. I want to test my skills in every axis I can. So if they only
Right.
say that on Mondays and Fridays you can only go up and over, you can't come back. Well, I don't want to go do that. I want to be able to have the free for all. But I
Yeah.
also know that if Jason's coming up in his Jeep Grand Cherokee on 40s, like, he's gonna win if he hits me.
Right.
And I have to be accountable for that. And my dad can't kick Jason's butt because I was doing something stupid and I paid the price for it.
Right.
Right.
It's gonna be some learning pains or some growing pains. I'm just super stoked that we have a quality park like less than 40 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's big.
And it'll give me, like you said, I mean, once the day the snow melts, I can take it out there and go ride and not worry about how muddy are the trails or how icy are the trails. I can go ride right there, and it's going to be super great.
Well, you don't spend half
Yeah.
the day driving to the
Right.
destination. You're 40 minutes, you're there, you unload, you're ripping around, and, I mean, you could be back by before dinner.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
how many times, Brad, have you loaded up to go do like Tin Cup for the day? And it's a 2.5
Oh,
hour ride each way.
More times than I can count. 3.5 hours
Okay.
I would drive to go ride for 2 hours and then
Right.
turn around and come back home.
Yeah, and you're dusty. Now you're dusty and dirty and tired, and you're back in the truck driving home. It was a great day of riding with your buddies, and everything was perfect. But you can go fart around here after work.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I'm
happy.
solid.
Yeah.
I think that was awesome.
And I guess the last thing
Touchdowns
we
and
can
stuff?
touch on is that none of this was meant to be a dig on the park. We're trying to make everything better.
Yeah, just trying to
everybody's
understand
safer.
it. Yeah, I hope everyone kind of listened to the whole thing and really, got the understanding for everything.
I'm grateful.
I'm excited
we have
for it.
Yeah.
I really am. I'm excited to get out there and get a try myself, learning more and more about it, and definitely eager to get out there. My schedule, however, is just not
We
as
should
conducive to
feed
doing
Brad
it.
a hamburger and make him do tricks for us.
Yeah.
Let me know when you guys go out again, and I'd definitely be down to meet up if I'm able. I mean, I wouldn't mind riding around in a Jeep too. I've never actually really done that. So
Okay, we can make that work.
That'd be pretty sweet.
I'll bring my loaner. You give Jason bike lessons, and we'll go for a Jeep ride if he's still in one piece.
I don't know that I want bike lessons. I'll just observe.
You got to give it a try at some point.
It never has ended well for me.
I think you just haven't been in the right hands yet.
All right, you got like a PW50, like a loaner.
I've got the 100.
You did the 100. Damn it!
I was thinking that was a little too much power.
It might be. Yeah, we'll take. We'll pinch off the cable or something.
We'll figure it out.
Half throttle.
All right. Well, that was our episode.
Yeah,
on
that was
Oaks.
it.
I'm happy. Thanks so much for coming on, Brad. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, hang on. Before we go, this is like our fourth goodbye.
Yeah.
Where can they find you in case they want to look at your riding?
So on YouTube, it's BeRad, BeRad. On Instagram, it's BeRad Moto. And then I have a website, BeRad-products.com, where I sell dirt bike parts and other merchandise. So, feel free to go check those out.
Cool.
Fantastic. We'll link that in all with the episode when we launch it. So
awesome. I appreciate it, guys.
This is goodbye for real this time. Hit the button.
Yeah.
All right, and we're out.